Do that. No! Go back. Do that. Everything working? Or is it just broken? Come on, Twitch. Work. Quit hosting. Okay, thank you. That's better. Hello? Hello, hello, hello. This is gonna be so haggard stream. In the immortal words of Turin. This is gonna be, this is gonna be, like, the lowest effort stream I have ever done in my life. Because there's so much garbage to read through. Like, good garbage, but garbage. So much stuff. Holy crap, we got, like... What the hell happened yesterday? What? Oh, I guess because the month just started? We just got, like, a shitload of new Patreons. Holy crap. I'm gonna have to, like, do something about that. So, I'm gonna put on some music. Hold on. Let's maybe Mamba King's got something for me. There we go. Wait, no, go back. There we go. Okay, so, hey, delete this. Thanks so much, my dude. I really appreciate that. What's my follow GIF? Is that the one where... I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I think it's the one... I think it's the intro movie from Mark of Chaos. Yeah. If it's the Warrior Priest, it's the intro movie from Mark of Chaos. Which, although a good game... sorry, I'm adjusting you guys a little bit. Although a good game, that intro was a lie. It was such a lie. Can I send you some pluckers? Ninja Strike, do we know each other? I've only been to Pluckers, like, once. Lizardmen, I'm glad to hear your grandmother's out of surgery, my dude. Good vibes. Good vibes, you dude. I hope she makes a full recovery. Okay, so, we have so many patch notes to go through. I've got a fresh pizza here to have, because I tried really hard. I was going to get, like, oh, maybe I'll get, like, a taco salad, or, like, some nachos with, like, a good mix of vegetation and and stuff on it, but I just couldn't get it to work, and it was I was losing my mind. So I was like, screw it. Ah, okay, Ninja Strike. I was like, how does he know I like pluckers? Anywho, how are y'all? Before we get into it, let's do pizza as a vegetable. It is not. Let's like I said, it's gonna be a really chill stream. We'll play some video games later tonight, but we'll like turn the stream off and do another one. How is everybody? How are y'all doing? How are y'all like? Oh, most importantly, how are y'all liking the DLC? It was DLC release day yesterday. How are y'all liking all the new stuff? Hey, Moogle. Hungry diet. I should do one of those. Well, thankfully they're going to be fixing the turnaround on the Forge of Daith and the unit card icons. Like, holy shit, dude. I was not expecting that. I mean, that was a hell of a turnaround. That was quick. Have I seen the new Slaanesh model? Yes. I'm really excited for the Mortals of Slaanesh line. What turnaround? So, if y'all haven't seen it, basically Creative Assembly has already come out saying that they're reworking the Forge of Daith hopefully before the end of December, and they're also fixing the unit card art. So the unit card art is going to be redone, and they're probably going to have like a different format going forward. And the Forge of Daith is being heavily reworked. Hold on, let me pull up my tweeter. Total War. Here, I'll show you. Here we go. Feedback on the Forge of Daith. We've heard your feedback. Here are going to be some changes. Reforged items will no longer return to their base level. So that's if you get the supercharged item, it no longer goes to base level. It just goes back to the version they were. That's what I wanted. That's awesome. When you receive dilemmas on a max level item, you can choose to reduce the time until the next Daith's gift instead of just walking away with Nyastra. That's awesome. Doing a pass on item effects overall to make the items more interesting and stronger. That's great. And then they're going to clean up the UI a bit. So it'll functionally still be the same system, but it's going to look better, and they're getting rid of the major flaws. So that's really exciting. Well, I love Mandalore, God bless him, but I don't think it's any one individual. I think a lot of the community was unified behind the idea that the Forge of Daith needed to be cleaned up a bit. MMO addicted. What are we eating? I'm having a pizza. You had boar lasagna? You redeemed a lore fact, and I didn't answer. Oh, I'm almost tempted to explicitly ignore it now. But, let's see what it was. What's the TL... okay, so the TLDR is that... The TLDR is that Manon is Arnessa's father. Likely, not only just a spiritual father, but like physical as well. It's likely like her actual dad is probably an entity known as Triton, which Triton is, you know, it's the big bearded dude with the giant thingamajigger fork. Trident, there we go. Where's my water? Hold on, I need my water. What do I do with it? Ah, there it is. Oh, so, couple cool things before we really get into it. But, stuff for the painting stream. Ah, there we go. The stuff for the painting stream has arrived. Though I'm waiting for one more thing. So my camera's here. So we got I got my Canon M50, which is going to be used for painting streams. And I've got some bonus equipment to help out with that. And then I picked up a new lighting thing, which is a pretty interesting device that I got recommended by Chapter Master Valrek, because it actually lets you like control the light from your phone and stuff. So like it has a lot of little nuance to it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, painting streams will be starting in the near future. It's gonna be awesome. All right. Kit Sasakura, the TLDR between Clan Boulder and Chaos is that they just hate everybody. Like, they both want to be dominant forces in the world, and because they both want to be dominant, but they have ultimately different objectives, where Clan Mulder wants to be, like, insanely strong, take all the resources they can into Hell Pit, and, you know, be a dominant power. Chaos wants to destroy everything. So while their end goals may seem kind of similar, the way they get there is super different, and because of that, they clash a lot. Plus, they view each other ultimately as lesser. Do we know what the ogre accent might be? Not really. The way ogres talk will change a lot depending on the creative team behind it. How much do we know about Franz's family? Not a lot. I believe his mother died fairly young. His father was mostly a good father, but he had some kind of not great moments. Karl Franz had a wife, but we don't know anything about her. And he has a son, but he's estranged from Franz. Like, Franz banished him from Reichland. He's not allowed to come back within the province. Do Drycha and Kodil have anything to do with Chaos? Not directly. Kodil was corrupted by the blood of Morgr, which made him go from kind of crazy to really fucking crazy. Why did Franz kick his son out? We have no idea. Something happened between the two of them. Hey, Living Legend, what's up? Thoughts on Creative Assembly's stance that there are no plans for additional content for Bretonnia except for Legendary Lords because they believe there's no more usable content. I don't agree with that, but that's, you know, that's something we'll address with time. I'm not super worried about it at this moment. MMO Addicted, I believe that's a loose RPG thread that is unresolved. Alright, let's go ahead and get started on this. So, basically what we're going to do is let's kind of go after, like, let's kind of do a bit at a time. Stop and chat so I can, like, eat. Because I need to eat my dinner before it gets cold. But, let's start with the, I want to start with the campaign changes. Wait, I lied. I want to start with the unit balance changes. We're going to start with unit balance because apparently that's shorter. There's a lot to go over. So let's kind of go over it bit by bit. Feel free to ask questions and we'll kind of go from there. Are sentient treatment exclusive to Athel Loren, or are there treatment in the Witchwood of the Forest of Gloom? And so Inquisitor Thomas, technically, sentient forest spirits, or just forest spirits, are only native to Athel Loren. Now, when the world was really young, a lot of them scattered all over the place. To, like, participate in various, or to take up residence in other forests. For instance, Durthu lived on Ulthuan for a really long time, during the pre-Chaos years. And then when Chaos came out, or the Demons of Chaos came out and swarmed the world, a lot of them went back through the world routes to Athel Loren to help defend their true home. But some of them fell in love with where they were, and they stayed and fought. Like, Durthu, when Chaos actually appeared, and the demons were, like, attacking everywhere, Durthu actually stayed in Avalorn for a long time. Like, he decided to fight alongside the High Elves for a really good while, because he loved the Forest of Avalorn so much, and he actually had, like, come to appreciate the Elves a lot. Durthu used to be a super duper kind dude. Have I seen the new colleges in Tasha's cult? I have no idea what we're talking about. Alright, let's get started. So, Beastmen. Not a lot of changes, which I guess makes sense. I highly suspect the Beastmen are the next major update, and the next DLC as well. So it doesn't surprise me they're not really getting a whole lot right now. But basically got more hit points if they're on a chariot for just the melee lords. And Kazrak can hit more people. Though I know Kazrak got a lot of item changes. Bretonia. Let's see. They have higher mass when they're on barded war horses. That's probably good considering the new mass changes. Men-at-arms with polearms are cheaper. That is pretty solid. Foot squires. Okay, foot squires got worse at charging, but got better overall stats, but they're also more expensive. That's an interesting trade-off. I like the trade because I never really liked the idea of foot squires being like super heavy damage dealing, heavy infantry. So I think stripping away their charge bonus a little bit and making them better at a prolonged engagement makes more sense, even if they are a little more expensive for the change. I don't think they're going to be reworked with Warhammer 3 and Chaos. No. Thrakdane, I think they want to try and keep the Chaos rework in 3 as small as possible. So I think they're going to keep the Beastmen away from that. Mounted Yeomen got better leadership, better charge bonus, better damage, and better AP. Oh, okay, that's nice. So just complete win for the Mounted Yeomen overall. Not massive changes, but every little bit helps. Yeah, I like that change. It's nothing crazy, but, you know, hopefully makes them a slightly more attractive option. Not a lot there I care about. Damsel on the Warhorse is not as good at charging. That makes sense. You don't want your Damsel on a Warhorse really being a super effective melee combatant. You shouldn't be you shouldn't be heavily incentivized to charge her into combat. That should be a really last second thing. Damsel on the Unicorn. 10 higher charge bonus. That's significant. Higher melee defense. Slightly slower walk speed, but much faster run speed. Slower acceleration and deceleration. Slightly faster charge speed. But it was made lighter. Okay, that's super interesting. So the Damsel on the Unicorn is a much better combatant and overall runs a lot faster, but she takes longer to get go. So it sounds like she's better at getting into combat scenarios, which I guess is what you're doing when you go for a unicorn. Like, if you're gonna get a unicorn, at that point, I assume you're stretching for more combat type scenarios, as opposed to a horse, which is probably purely going to be trying to keep the character cheap and just running around. I like that. That's cool. Even though it is quite a bit lighter. I wonder what the horse mass is. Anyway, Fey Enchantress on foot got some... Wow, that is a big melee defense nerf. Melee defense down from 42 to 34. That's pretty significant. A little bit more melee attack, so she's a little more reliable, I guess, for hurting infantry, but good lord, she's going to take hits a lot easier. But that makes sense. The Fey Enchantress is super frustrating to kill on foot. Silveron got buffed a little bit. Champions Quinels are more expensive. Makes sense. Dark Elves. Lokir Fellheart. Lower melee attack, higher melee... No. Yeah. Lower melee attack, higher melee defense. Man, he has a charge bonus of 50? On foot? Good grief. Higher bonus versus infantry. He can hit more people with his attacks. He walks faster, he runs faster, and he charges faster. I think that's good changes. I guess that makes him feel more like a... I guess that's to make Lokir feel more like a pirate or... Not pirate. Like a... What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a armored rogue character as opposed to a... Like... Super tanky... hardcore duelist. Corsair! Yes, thank you. Hopefully that'll give him more of a Corsair feel. Because right now... He definitely... I think this is a good change overall. Man, 60 melee attack and 60 melee defense. That is not... That's not messing around. That is super high. Hopefully that'll give him more of a hit-and-run feel. And be good for, like, assassinating out infantry characters. Maelstrom got some... so he got higher melee attack but lower melee defense. It's fine. Malice Darkblade on Zarkan. Let's see. Zarkan form damage amount changed from 45 to 9. Zarkan form... Oh! Wow, that is a... Oh, hey. Inu Okami, thanks so much for the tip. Thank you. I appreciate the nice words. It seems most people did not like the review, but... or, that's not true. I think most people seem to enjoy it, but there were definitely a lot of not thrilled people in the comment section. Though I tried to address as much of that as I could. This is actually a huge change for Zarkan. So Zarkan takes 60%, effectively, takes an average of 60% less damage while he's in the Zarkan form. So, whenever his damage... So he is more often to take damage on a tick, but when he does take damage on a tick, he only takes 9 damage instead of... wait, no. I think they're saying that he takes damage slower. I think this is saying every half second he used to take damage. But now he only takes damage once per second. And then, instead of taking 4... Wow, that's so huge! So instead of taking... If I'm understanding this correctly, it seems it's saying that he went from taking 45 damage every half second to 9 damage every 1 second? That is a massive damage reduction, which is good, because Malice, like, let's be honest, Malice sucks compared to a lot of characters. Especially, my thing is, especially because of his heal cap, its damage chance not... I didn't realize he had, like, a chance to resist it. But, like... Okay, so he takes... Okay, so he's more likely to take the damage, but it's only 9 instead of 45. That's a massive difference. Okay, so it's a 100% chance he takes damage on a tick, but it's only 9 damage. Instead of a 50%... That's still, like, a massive trade up. It also makes it a lot easier to probably, like, watch and predict. But, I like that. I like that a lot. I mean... Because let's be honest, Zarkan sucked. The big issue with him was that he had a lot of cool healing effects. Like, if he's in combat and stuff, with the Warp Sword of Cain, and one of his abilities as Zarkan, I think, can heal him. But the issue was, like, you have a heal cap. Like, you're gonna run out of heal eventually. And, on top of that... When you're Zarkan, or with those Warp Sword of Cain, you only heal in combat. So, like, it's still possible to counter him. So I think that's a great change. Cold One characters, much higher mass and faster run speed. Great, that's awesome. I do think Cold Ones and, like, barded horses should have a easier time pushing out of, like, infantry. But especially Cold Ones. Like, Cold Ones should be pretty heavy. Crone Hellebron on foot causes fear. Nice. I like that. So Hellebron causes fear on all of her non-terrifying forms. She got a small melee defense buff. Holy sweet mother. She got a big old buff on the Cauldron of Blood. 4 additional melee attack and, like, nearly 90 more AP damage? Okay. Damn. Okay. Okay. That's cool. Cauldron of Blood for the regular Death Hag. Significantly more AP, but they lost some base damage. Okay, that's better. So it's better at trading with heavily armored infantry. That's good. How could someone so beautiful cause fear? I don't know if attractiveness really boils in too much to how scary someone could be on the battlefield when they're like a berserker type bloody crazy person. Alright, pizza slice break. Well, here, I'll do it after the Dark Elves. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Supreme Sorceress got some mass buffs. Malekith. Oh, Malekith's melee defense went down. That's nice. But his melee attack went up. Okay, so all Feral Manticores got a longer attack reach. That's pretty spooky. I mean, I think that's great for the mounts and the Feral Manticore. I imagine they extended that to the summon. MMO Addicted? Oh no, I ordered it. I've made pizza before, but it takes a while. Cold One Knights. Oh, Dread Knights. Oh, wow. Got some bonus hit points. That's kind of nice. Ah, but they're more expensive. I still feel like for Dread Knights to really be great. I wish Malice Darkblade, at least in his Malice form, instead of his like, if not for both forms, at least just his Malice form. I do wish he had some ability to counteract Cold One Rampage. I think that would be a really nice upgrade for him, at least in campaign. Like, I would love for that to be a faction trait for Malice, or an army trait that he just, like, disables their Rampage. Any word on Manticore mount for Masters? Not that I see. Mouse should have a map-wide passive. If they were going to put it in multiplayer, it wouldn't be able to be like a map-wide passive, more than likely. It would have to be something more localized. Bleak Swords. Oh, overall stat buffs for Bleak Swords. That's a very nice win for core troops. Higher leadership on Dark Shards. Some changes to their shooting systems. And they're cheaper. Wow. Big win for Dark Shards. Dark Shards with shields have better combat stats. Also a big win. Seems like Dark Elves are just getting flat buffed. Yeah, Dark Elves just purely got buffs. So all of their basic troops, including Corsairs... Oh, wow. Corsairs are really good at charging now. Like, they were pretty good at it before, but now they're like 20. Hot damn. So Dark Elves just got flat buffs. Bretonia got, like, some shifting around. I don't know if I'd call them buffs. Well, yeah, I guess Polar's... Well, yeah, Polar's being 50 cheaper is a big win. But yeah, wow. Dark Elves are coming out really good in this patch. Or walking away really good for this patch. Is Orion's camp a real place? Well, it's not Orion's camp, it's Orion's camp. And I've never seen that on any maps. That pizza's killing me? I'm sorry. The Dwarves! Alright, Iron Breakers. Okay, Iron Breakers just got debuffed. That makes sense. Grombrindle. Grombrindle's unbreakable! Very nice. That's cool. Wow, he got some really nice stat buffs, but he's 100 more expensive, so kind of a trade-off. Holy shit, Ungrim got plus 10 melee defense? Damn, Ungrim. Alright. Giant Slayers. Oof. Oh, okay, higher melee defense. More hit points. And more... Okay, that's pretty nice. So Giant Slayers aren't quite as effective at hitting, but like barely. But they're walking away with some really nice damage buffs and defensive buffs. So that's a pretty big win for Giant Slayers, I think. Blasting charges are continuing to get debuffed. Oh, but miners, wow, charge bonus from 6 to 12. Okay. I'm actually pretty okay with. I think blasting charges are really too strong. I understand, like, I like how good they are disrupting, but like they are obscenely powerful sometimes. How am I today? I'm great. I'm really great. That being said, I don't want to go like I do not want to go super. Just let me get my fucking twirling locks out of the way. Hammers 18 to 24 on the charge. Woo, that's a big. Look at all these charge buffs, dude. Longbeards with great weapons, charge buff. Hammers, charge buff. Miners, charge buff. Awesome. So Slayers are gonna hit green. Dwarves are going to hit much better on the charge. There we go. Cephalok, you close your filthy mouth. I see you there. That's awesome. So I don't think these changes alone are going to be substantial enough to really reward dwarf players for being more aggressive. I think there's probably going to need to be some more buffs. Or more, not necessarily buffs, but like switching around of mechanics for the dwarves to really be rewarded for not just boxing forever. But that's a step in the right direction. A lot of leadership reductions. I think that's totally fair. Just to make dwarves not quite as difficult to move. Grudge Throwers got a big boy damage buff. Very nice. Cumulative plus 15 damage. Awesome. I mean, the dwarves didn't get anything. Like, the only thing I see dwarf players probably being kind of like about is that blasting charges got some slapped with the nerf hammer a little bit, and like a lot of their ranged units are not quite as cantankerous, but overall I think dwarf players should be really happy with these changes. Don't yell at me. I think these are great. I think those are really good changes. Look at the bolt thrower. Leadership of 75? What happened there? What? Why did bolt throwers have 75 leadership? Did they put the crazy people on the bolt throwers? Or are they like only the truly insane would crew this thing? Are these in response to the buff via mass change? Probably. I mean, dwarves are going to be a lot better at handling charges, but at the same time, like, I think this is just trying to reward players for having a more aggressive play style. Because I really love dwarves, but I think dwarves are really, really hard to play in multiplayer if you don't just tank and spank. And I think that frustrates a lot of people. Like, I know a lot of people who think playing dwarves, they're like, dwarves are the most overpowered thing in the universe. And, but people who play dwarves are like, well, yeah, they're really strong if I do this specific build, but if I don't play, like, pure defense, they're garbage. So hopefully they're kind of figuring stuff out there. Alright, the Empire. Oh. Interesting. Halberdiers are much cheaper, but they only have charge defense against large instead of charge defense versus all. Wow. It's a pretty heavy nerf. I think that's fitting because Halberdiers to me having charge defense versus all did not make any sense. Like, I understand that, like, they're the Empire and they've got good formation, but come on. Like, they're also just, like, basic infantry, essentially. So, I think that's a fair change. Man, I feel really bad for... I know, like, I probably should go through this and put in timestamps for when I go over, like, every faction and stuff. But I don't know if I'm going to have the willpower to do it, and I'm going to feel really bad for the person that does do it. I mean, they're substantially cheaper, so that's really, really awesome to give the Empire, like, some really cheap AP at 550. Like, 550? That's dirt cheap for some armor-piercing infantry. That's pretty nice. But, yeah, at least... I'm glad that halberdiers are no longer anti-infantry. Karl Franz has a Pegasus? Yep. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it, but yep. The Arc Lector, okay, these are just... Okay, those are just horse changes. Greenskins! AP Gloonies are more expensive? Good! Screw AP Gloonies. They are a very frustrating unit if you're playing against them. Crimson Killers are 100 cheaper. I think that's fair. They were super freaking expensive. Black Orc Big Boss is a little more expensive. That's fair. Warboar, missile block chance down to 35 from 55. So he is much more vulnerable to shooting. More expensive. I don't know why this says Grom the Paunch. Arnon Lore Halberdiers against infantry too. I mean, Halberdiers are good against, like, a lot of things, but they weren't, like, geared towards being anti-infantry. I mean, they were just, you know, they just tried to hang in there. That's supposed to be a new heading? What? Oh, formatting error? Okay. Melee... Oh, he has a longer reach on the Warboar. That's pretty nice. So the Black Orc Warboss on the Warboar now has... He has an extended reach, but he's not quite as resistant to missile weapons. Oh! Okay, I see. This is supposed to be Grom. Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. So, this is for the Black Orc Warboss. This is for Grom. Grom has an even longer reach? I feel like Grom had an amazing reach already. I mean, that's almost twice as much reach on his weapon. Good for him, but, yeah. I wouldn't have thought he needed that, but that's fine. Stone Trolls, not quite as missile resistant. That's fair. They're really, really cost efficient right now. Spider Riders have less health. Okay. River Trolls, higher melee attack. That's good. River Trolls need some love. Savage Orc Boy Biggins. Knock ignore chance change from 15 to 0. So, if I understand this correctly... This means that Savage Orc Boys Biggins and Orc Boys Biggins, I'm assuming this means that they just completely ignore knock chance now. Because they're big, I guess. So they can't be knocked. Am I understanding that correctly? Because, I mean, if it went down to 0, that means they're... I assume that means there's something they're no longer doing. You read it the other way? You have no idea? That they went from the chance to ignore to no chance to ignore? Because that wouldn't make... That wouldn't make sense, right? For them always to get knocked down? Or, I guess if the mass changes... Maybe it has to do with the mass changes. Maybe it's now that because the mass changes have been altered, so infantry is a lot less likely to get knocked over, they no longer need, like, a higher ignore chance. Okay, that makes sense. Alright, I don't care about spider hatchlings, to be honest. Wait, maybe melee building damage? Building damage? Like, their damage against gates? Huh. What a strange thing to buff. Death Creepers debuffed, Spider Riders debuffed, Lava Rider Spider Riders massively. Woo! Lava Spider Rider Archers. Jesus. Got big old debuffs. Holy crap. Granted, they were like grossly powerful at melee for archers. Um, Swamp Thing's got a little buff. Arachnarok Spider. Entity projectile intersection radius. That's gibberish as far as I'm concerned. Does anybody understand what that means? Hitbox for the arrow. Entity projectile intersection. Easier to hit with missiles. Ah, I see. Okay, so they have a bigger hitbox. So it is easier to hit spiders now. Cool. I like that. That's good. Alariel on her stupid eagle. I will hate this thing as long as I live. This was such an unnecessary mount. This did not need to be in the game. Stupid. I hate this thing. It's dumb. Alariel should have been foot or horse only. I don't know why they gave her an eagle. Lower melee defense. She is harder to hit. Mount entity radius. Wait. So she's harder to hit with missiles. Oh, I see. So she's harder to hit with missiles, but her overall mount's, like, presence is bigger. You always put Alariel on Eagle? Yeah, so does everybody, because it's, like, super overpowered. It's still dumb, though. Alariel did not need the buff of a flying mount. That was so unnecessary. It's like giving, it was like giving Teclis the Phoenix. Like, it's just goofy. Alright. Noble on an Eagle. Cheaper. That's fair. I very rarely see the Noble Eagle. A lot of people take the Chariot. Not quite as easy to shoot, but easier to fight in melee and all that stuff now. Same thing for Eagles. Ithamar Chariot is more expensive. Okay, so they're trying to... It looks like they're like, okay, you know, the Eagle's a little bit more... yeah, I think this is a good change. Because the Chariot is, like, really strong for Nobles. So I think that's the right chance. Or right choice. Teclis on the stupid Phoenix. He no longer has missile resistance. That's nice. Good. Screw Teclis, dude. On the bird. I like Teclis without the bird. But with the bird, oh my god. He has less hit points. No missile resistance now. He's harder to shoot, but he's bigger, so he's also kind of easier to shoot. Okay, I think these are fair changes. I don't know if this is going to be enough to fix the garbage of putting him on there in the first place, but it's a step in the right direction. Arcane Phoenix also got similarly debuffed. Okay, so looks like every single bird in the High Elf faction, so all of the Great Eagles and all of the Phoenixes have larger models, or their hitbox is larger. So they're easier to hit and engage in melee, but the ballpark area around them where they intercept missiles and take damage from missiles is a little smaller. Oh, Addicted, thanks, my dude, for the bits. Alistair the White Lion, I could not care less. Good for him, I guess. Looks like it's mostly debuffs, but he got a little... Wow, he got a lot more melee defense on the Sun Dragon. Holy crap. How do Cauldrons of Blood move? They're animated by the Will of Cain. Archmage on an Elven Steed. So this is... Okay, so it looks like this is similar to what we saw with, like, the Damsels earlier, where they're not quite as incentivized to get into combat, but you got 10 more armor and more health. That's not a bad exchange. Sorry, sheep. More health. They're making... It looks like they're making dragons across the board more aggressive, but also easier to hit in combat. I think that's a fair trade. Dragons should be more aggressive than anything. The Griffin got flat buffs on the Prince. That's nice. Same thing. Yeah, so it looks like pretty much all dragons are getting a melee attack buff, but a melee defense debuff. I think that's very fair. Stormwing got buffed a little bit. That's good. Altharion the Grim really needs help. He's struggling as a character. Tyrion can hit more entities. That's great. That's great news for Tyrion. Tyrion will be much, much better at dealing with units. Alright, pizza break. Undertaker, we'll get to the campaign changes. They're over here. We'll get to it. Hey, Pone. Why is tic-tac-toe in this game so boring? How dare you? I like tic-tac-toe. Hey, changer of ways. Eldred, I got it. Chat's not too busy. When do I think the new Sigvald model will come out? Oh god, I have no idea, dude. Games Workshop sometimes likes to reveal stuff like months in advance. Brower's stats weren't changed? Why do I give a damn about Brower? The one exception. And he's campaign only. I don't care. Why does Tic-Tac-Toe have run speed? Because he has to come down to the ground to hit people that are infantry. I should cosplay as Sigvald one stream. I don't know if I could even remotely pull that off. How do I feel about Throg in game? He's fun, but I'm disappointed they made him so stupid. Are Emmerich dragons lore friendly? Eh. What's my favorite elf faction? I think my favorite is probably the Wood Elves. Where's the pizza from? Pizza Hut. It's something exciting. Care to elaborate on Throg being stupid? So, the thing about Throg is, Throg actually, yeah, his voice lines. Throg has a book. Like, he has almost an entire Gotrek and Felix book dedicated to him, which is Gotrek and Felix Kinslayer. And that's the only time Throg ever makes an appearance outside of the End Times. The End Times, Throg also shows up in Book 5 Archaon, and every single time Throg was, like, written by Games Workshop, he's actually pretty eloquent. Like, Throg is not intelligent for a troll, he's just intelligent. Yeah, Throg, not Throt. Oh, yeah, Chips Ahoy, I see I misread your comment. No, I don't get stuffed crust, I just got, I like thin crust. But, yeah, I was pretty disappointed when Creative Assembly made Throg speak like an idiot. He has a very, like, caveman speak. Which is not how he's interpreted in the stories that he shows up in. Wiggles Bottom. Well, thank you for the nice words, my dude. I'm new to AOS, looking to start collecting. I'm torn between the Gloomspite Gits and Slaves to Darkness. What are your thoughts on these? Slaves to Darkness will give you more variety because you'll be able to take any of like the new God Mortal models, I'm pretty sure, as part of your army, and you can like make your army dedicated to one of the gods, and it can really change their playstyle. But I think Gloomspite Gits are a lot more fun. And Gloomspite Gits, like, you can go pretty crazy with how you want to build them, because they have the 3 sub-factions, so you can build them as spider, forest. You can essentially build them as either forest goblins, night goblins, or trolls, or a mix. They are kind of random, though. If your goal, Wiggle, if your goal is to be competitive, like you want to start competitive play, and you want to play in tournaments, and you're like, oh, I want to win, you probably want to go Slaves to Darkness. If you just want to have fun, then Gloomspite Gits are a really good time. And Gloomspite Gits can be good, but it takes a lot more effort. Slaves to Darkness just kind of are good. I mean, I literally, the last Texas Masters tournament I was at before COVID hit, my last game of a tournament was against a Gloomspite Gits player, and I felt so bad for him because he was trying so hard, but his build was really heavily revolving around fanatics, and they just whiffed. Like, they were ass. They were so bad. He, like, did all these complicated maneuvers where he, like, teleported, like, a bunch of goblins around. He did all this crazy shit. And, like I think, like, 12 fanatics were unleashed against my, Night Haunts. And also, like, there was a whole bunch of, like, endless spells and stuff, and it just bounced. It just bounced. Like, it was just like, oh, you killed 2 ghosts. And it's my turn, so all my ghosts are back. Like, that was literally what happened. It was rough. They can be I will say Gloomspite Gits can be super annoying though when it comes to an objective play. If the particular battle you're playing is really reliant on capturing objectives, if Gloomspite Gits can get on an objective and have it close to their loot shrine, it is nearly impossible to get them off of it. It is such a huge pain in the ass. Because if you don't kill enough of them, they have you outnumbered, and they can actually be pretty painful. But if you kill too many of them and you wipe them out, they can fucking come back to life, which is super annoying. What army do I play? I play Night Haunts. And Seraphon. But Night Haunts I play competitive. Because Lady Allender is just the best. By the way, random question for those in chat who know. Aren't the Hedonites of Slaanesh... Are the Hedonites of Slaanesh a 2nd edition book or a 1st edition book? Because I thought for sure they were 2nd edition, but it really feels like Games Workshop is literally about to release a new edition book for them. So I'm thinking maybe I'm crazy and they're actually 1st. Because didn't they, like, just come out not that long ago? Yeah. I don't know why they did that. Yeah, they are 2nd edition. They're not 9th edition, you goof. It's so weird that they released the Hedonites and then like a year later they're like, Oh, hey, here's all your mortal models that you were missing. Like, why didn't you just wait? Strange edition. Or strange decision. First edition AOS doesn't exist? Oh, right. Sorry. We're actually in first edition now. Am I okay? Yeah, just some... My Coke tried to go down the wrong pipe. Louis, that doesn't add up. It takes way longer than a single year to make all the sculpts and stuff. Like, the Mortals of Slaanesh had to have been, like, being worked on, like, probably 2 or 3 years ago. Who do I like more? Lilith or Aisha? Lilith is a really interesting character, so I like her a lot. I just don't like how she's portrayed in the end times. Darren Wilson, the secret to Ollander is you have to hide her behind a ton of crap. So, like, the way I run Lady Ollander is I'll run, like, a unit of 30 chain rasps, 40 preferably, but in my current build, I think I could only afford 2 units of 30. But I run, like, a unit of 30 chain rasps, and then a unit of 10, so chain rasps, and then I run a unit of 10 Grimghast Reapers right behind them, and then right behind them is where Lady Ollander is. So, like, I put Lady Ollander right in the middle of, like, a Death Star, and you surround her with other characters. So, like, Valentian, Guardians of Souls, Knight of Shrouds, oh god, the dude with the locks, and you just chill. You just chill with her back there. And if there's something on the table that can kill Lady Ollander, like before she gets in range, probably the best way to handle that. There are 2 ways you could do it. One thing is that you could just deploy Lady Ollander in the underworld. I never make Lady Ollander my general. Lady Ollander has a super shitty command trait, which sucks. Because I love Lady Ollander and I want her to be my general, but her general ability is terrible. So I usually make my Guardian of Souls my general. So what you could do with Lady Ollander is just hide Lady Ollander in the underworld and deploy her once she's in range. Or, if the terrain allows, you can just hide her behind stuff. Generally, you don't need to hide her, but if you're playing against, like, Ossiarch Bone Reapers and they're running, like, double catapult or some bullshit, or or you're fighting against Seraphon and they're running Lord Croak, then you probably want to put her in the underworld. Alright, Changer of Ways, good to see you. Is Lady Ollander the new Isabella? No, they're nothing alike. If you're Nighthawk against Seraphon, just shake your opponent's hand and say good game. I think Nighthawk can beat Seraphon. The trick is you have to utilize the shit out of the underworld mechanic. Like, and get really lucky on your charge. But yeah, so what do Nighthawks need in Broken Realms? Nighthawks need the ability... Nighthawks need a character or a unit that can absorb wounds for characters. So, like... Nighthawks need, like, a bodyguard unit that can just hang out near characters. And if, like, Ollander gets hit by like Lord Croc spamming meteors and shit, you can like pass those mortal wounds onto another character or onto that unit. How's patch rating going? We're taking a break so I can eat some food for a second. Doesn't Lady Alder have a significant other? She does. Kurdos Valentian. Which Kurdos Valentian is such a badass. Who is an absolute goof at the same time. Hey, Godzilla, thanks so much for the tip, my dude. Have I ever heard the tragedy of Dark Plagueis the Wise? I have. I'm very familiar with it. But, like, Lord Croc just dumps on a lot of armies, to be honest. But, particularly, Night Haunts. Because the problem is, with Night Haunts, is that the problem with Night Haunts is because they have a 4-up save that can't be modified. If they get hit with a lot of... They have, like, no wounds. Like, they have really, really small health bars. So, it's really easy for someone like Lord Croc or Ossiarch Bone Reapers to just snipe out the Night Haunt characters because they barely have any health. Because they're supposed to rely on their save to keep them alive. But in second edition, they've introduced a shit ton of character sniping mechanics. And if you don't have a lot of health, then you just die. Does Kurdos Valentian have any books? Kurdos Valentian does not have a book to himself, but he shows up in... Kurdos Valentian shows up in Soul Wars Forbidden Power. Wait, no. Sorry. Kurdos shows up in the Siege of Lake Lethis, and he also shows up in Wrath of the Everchosen. God dang taters. Thanks for continuing the Prime sub. I appreciate the message. Do I think they can make lords like Isabella, von Karstein, and Grombrindal legendary heroes in exchange for free LC lords to replace them without significant backlash? Bleed Rainbows, I think... I don't know about Grombrindal. Grombrindal's a little tricky, but Isabella von Karstein, I absolutely think could just be made into a legendary hero without any major issues. She would be way stronger as a legendary hero. And it would also fit her original design a lot better. Grombrindal could make a pretty okay legendary hero. I don't know if they'd actually go through with it because there's been a lot of investment in him as a general. And his unbreakable mechanic can get a little tricky really quick. Why do I never do AoE lore videos? I'm going to assume that's AOS. Unless AoE is something that I'm not aware of. And right now it's just because I'm busy, but I will get around to it. Anyway, let's move on. So, back to patch notes. For whoever, whether it's me or someone else listening back to this and making timestamps. Lizardmen. The Bastillodon, Ark of Sotek, got a damage buff. Base Vortex damage is increased by 25%. Very nice. So, from 4 to 5 damage, that should be pretty significant. The Bastillodon actually has a really, really fast tick on its Vortex. So, that actually could be a pretty significant damage change. Bastillodon, projectile calibration area. I guess that means the projectile is bigger? I'm assuming. So, that seems like a buff. Nakai the Wanderer got a +8 charge bonus and more hit points. That's great. He's still gonna be trash. Unfortunately. I don't know what, like, Nakai needs, like, some kind of special super missile resistance on cocaine. Oh, you think it increases, you think the calibration area makes it so it's less accurate? I guess that would make sense. I would pay for a DLC that adds a lot of new dialogue to Legendary Lords, would you? Probably. Yeah, I would, yeah, I'd be happy to get a lot more voice lines. That, I will say, that's probably the shittiest thing about the fact that CA... So, a lot of communities for video games will usually bring on, like, a group of voice actors that are a part of that community for, like, games that have a lot of voice lines. You know, they usually don't go out to, like, big professional voice actors. They tend to focus on, like, smaller or more community wound up ones. Which they just did with Throt. Like, one of my biggest disappointments, I think, when you check out a lot of video game communities, is I always love how a lot of communities, whether it's like, well, there's I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but like I know Destiny did a good job with it. Also, whatever that one with the robot ninjas is. But like a lot of those communities, like the voice actors are like part of the community. And like there's a lot of interaction there. Whereas like Total War, I don't even know who the voice actors for a lot of the characters are. Warframe, thank you. I don't even know who most of the voice actors are because you can't even like find them in the credits. Like it's a pain in the ass to figure out who all of the voice actors are in Total War Warhammer, which is a bummer. I really wish it was a lot more open. Anyway, Tic-Tac-Toe plus 15 charge bonus. Holy Lord. He has twice as far of a weapon length. He's faster on the ground, accelerates faster on the ground, charges faster, can turn faster, a lot faster. He flies faster, and his flying charges faster. That's awesome. Awesome. So, Tic-Tac-Toe just got flat buffs. Great. I don't know if that's going to make him super competitive, but those are some nice changes. Drop Sphere of Tepok got a substantial damage buff. That's really nice. Including the upgraded version. I mean, Tic-Tac-Toe was insanely strong in his campaign. Because he can get a lot of really powerful upgrades. But, though somebody did win, I was watching like a pretty competitive multiplayer match the other day, and somebody actually won with Tic-Tac-Toe. Like, he could be really nasty in the right scenario. They should get some of the voice actors from Dawn of War 1. I mean, if they want. I would be more interested. I would be more interested in them getting more voice actors like voice stacks. Like, people who are approachable and, like, have communities or, like, are public voice acting folks. I would really like to see more of them. More American voice actors. Less British ones. Anyway. Krokgar is cheaper on everything. Great. I'll take it. Skink Priest on Pterodon. Okay, so all the Pterodon riders have a much wider weapon attack length. That's cool. Voice acting guild is weird about hiring people outside of it. They punish you for that. Like, I don't know. I feel like I know a lot of VAs who are not part of the, I've never even heard of the VA guild. Is that a thing in the States? Like, for video games and stuff, is that a big thing in the States? Because I have, like, literally never heard of them. But maybe the voice actors I watch just don't talk about it. But they seem to, like, freely talk about doing whatever it is they do. I think the ones I watch are all freelance. but I'd have to check. Anyway, Pterodon Riders, looks like, so, mount intersection, projectile intersection radius, so they're easier to hit, right? That's what we talked about earlier, so Pterodon Riders are easier to hit with missile weapons. That's fair. I know a lot of people are easily frustrated. I'm a little bummed that they got, a debuff in that case, but, Chameleon Skinks. Small melee defense debuff. I mean, they're still going to be really amazing. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference, to be honest. Lord Croak is quite a bit cheaper, but that makes sense. In multiplayer, Lord Croak is not nearly as good as he is in single player because he's like one of the easiest things in the universe to dodge. Saurus Spears. All versions of Saurus Spears lost some base damage but gained AP. And a little bit extra bonus versus large. Okay, so they got better. They just flat out got better. That's nice. Very, very tiny change, though. Ripperdactyls. Substantially more health on Ripperdactyls. That's an extra, what, 28 health per entity? So on large, what, there's six Ripperdactyls in the unit? So that's... it's not a ton more health, but it's not a tiny amount. Gotrek is more expensive, that's fair. Norsca. Wulfric can hit more people when he's on foot and horse. I don't think he'll be competitive on foot or horse. I think everyone's going to take him on a mammoth if they're going to take him, or they'll take something cheaper, but, you know, cool change. Ice Trolls can hit... Wow! Ice Trolls only had a max attack of 3 entities? That is terrible. I did not realize that Ice Trolls were so bad against, like, hordes. Interesting. But now it's up to 4, so that's, I mean, that's still not a lot. But that's decent. And then their knock ignore chance and hit reaction ignore chance were increased significantly. Pretty good. Berserkers had their hit knock ignore chance reduced down to 0, probably to go along with the new changes to mass. And then the Pharaoh Manticore got buffed. Marauders with great weapons got a tiny buff, but they're also cheaper. That's nice. Skaven. Skaven slaves got debuffed. Good. Screw Skaven. I hate Skaven slaves in this game. Like, I'm glad their melee defense especially is going down. I find that Skaven slaves tend to be a little too good for how cheap they are. Which is very similar to Tabletop. Slingers, okay, also got debuffed. The Warlord on Bonebreaker. Higher charge bonus, much higher health. That's a good 600 bonus health, and substantially cheaper. Awesome. I don't think you'll ever really see that, but good change. I think that's a good change. Plague Priest on foot has notably higher mass. Gracier on foot has way higher mass. Quick Head Taker. He got some buffs. They're not massive buffs, and he can hit more guys, so he's a little better against, like, infantry blocks. Alright. I don't think that's going to make Queek good, but... CO2, hey, are you supposed to be able to put the sisters back on the eagle? Yes, you trigger it in their... When you click on the character, click on the magnifying glass and pick none as your mount. So go to your mount option for Kaithan Har and just change it to none. And you'll be back on the eagle. Ishka's Triad. Oh, the decoy. I was like, what? So Ishka's Triad just does nothing. Tomb Kings. Scepter the Imperishable on the... I hate this. I hate this so much. So much that it... Oh my god. Giving Scepter the Imperishable a War Sphinx was a travesty. And they can't undo it now. It's too late. But screw this change. I hate it. They never should have given him a War Sphinx. It's so dumb. Screw the rule of cool. The Chariot of the Gods is cool. Um, giving Cetra a War Sphinx just immediately made the Chariot of the Gods garbage because of how the mass system works. I know he's always had it. I'm saying that I hate it. Ben Snyder I already answered that earlier, but the TLDR is I think there's more that could be added to Bretonnia. Yeah, I hate Cetra being on the War Sphinx. That should have never been a thing. Sigmire, I got baited. Avalon calls for aid, says it will reduce the World Route passage cooldown by 5 turns, but then it goes away and you're stuck with... Sigmire, the buff, I think, only lasts for a single turn. So, I think it's like you literally have to go that turn or else you miss out on it. Like, if you don't go immediately, you miss you have to wait. Oh, no. If you go there... So, okay, so Sigmire, what it says is that it reduces the amount of turns you have left to teleport to get to the Gaean Vale, but the idea is you're supposed to go there and take over the ruins. And then you have to wait like normal. But it's just to let you get there fast. It has nothing to do with you leaving. The only way to reduce your... Well, I think there's actually 2 ways, but the main way to reduce your cooldown on world routes is to just upgrade whatever you're... If you're playing on Vortex, you want to upgrade the Witchwood, but like fill up its meter. And if you're like healing it, and if you're playing any on Mortal Empires, you want to heal the Oak of Ages, and it'll knock down your cooldown. Yeah, Sigmar, yeah. So yeah, the idea is just that when the event pops up, it lets you get there in a reasonable amount of time. Because otherwise, if it didn't, you'd have the issue of like the AI might like take over the ruins before you could get there in time. If you even want to go, you don't have to. You can just ignore it. All right, Kimrian War Sphinxes got better melee attack but lower melee defense. I think that's fair. Necro Sphinx, same thing. Looks like a lot of monsters got melee attack buffs at the cost of melee defense, which I think is totally fine. Skeletal Horseman got 1 AP. Woo! That's a game changer right there. Woo! That's, I don't know how anybody's going to handle the Tomb King Skeleton Horseman having 1 more AP. I mean, that's going to win games instantly. Kalita on foot, better at dealing with, mass hordes. Same thing for the Necro Serpent, and she got 20 more armor. Very nice. I think that's a great change for Kalita. Kalita is such a weird character. I feel bad that Creative Assembly stayed so true to her tabletop design, because her tabletop design was whack. And unfortunately, they kept the whackness, where it's like, oh, I have this hardcore dueling poisonous melee character who buffs ranged units and has to be near ranged units in order for the buffs to work. Like, what? It's strange. It was worse in Tabletop. In Tabletop, the only way her buffs worked is you had to put her in a unit of skeleton archers, which was bizarre. Like, it was super dumb. Because you're like, oh, she's really good at fighting, so I want to put her in a unit of Tomb Guard, right? And they're like, well, no, if you want her archery buffs, which are the only reason you're taking her, then you need to put her in a unit of skeleton archers. But because she can only join a single unit, because she's a character, it meant you had to take like a giant ass block of skeletons, which meant they could only shoot at like a single thing. It was messy. Vampire Coast. Animated Hulks are faster, charge faster, and got slightly more melee attack. Awesome. Animated Hulks definitely need some love. I'm not gonna focus too much on the like all the specifics of the guns. The TLDR for it is essentially that all of these zombie pirate guns have significantly less models per unit. They are significantly worse at shooting, but they got more health and they're slightly better in close combat. Is like the TLDR, which I think is a good change. I think, honestly, the sheer number of bodies they had and how the range system works in this game was just too nasty of a combination for Vampire Coast shooting. Like, Vampire Coast shooting with their what are supposed to be trash tier zombies was way too good, in my opinion. So I'm glad for the most part they got slapped with some really big debuffs. Cassin, yeah, in Total War Warhammer, yeah, that would totally work. Did not work in tabletop, but it would work in Total War, yeah. Yes, Khalida does synergize very nicely with Sepulchral Stalkers. Depth Guard got buffs. Wow, big charge bonus buff. Holy crap. Okay, so Depth Guard just got flat buffs. I think that's really, really nice. A lot of people, I don't know many people that use Depth Guard. Like, some people will use a few of them, but you don't usually you just see, like, mass zombie spam. Depth Guard with pull arms. Good lord. 7 extra melee attack and 10 extra charge bonus on top of 2 extra base damage and 2 extra AP damage. Damn, alright. So, Depth Guard are a lot more solid now. Luther Harkin on foot. Significantly less ammo. That's totally fair. Oh, on the Terrorgeist. This is a good change. This is a really good change. Luther Harkin's ranged attack should function more like a gimmick and less like one of the most terrifying features available to the entire faction. Am I hoping for another Skaven DLC? In Game 3? Sure. Not again, ever again. I'm done with rats for Game 2. Skaven... I think Skaven probably have one more DLC up their sleeve. Carronades are more expensive. That's totally fair. Vampire counts. Oh my god. Helman Gorst got 200 cost cheaper on his corpse cart? Oh my god. That's going to change everything. God, I fucking hate Gorst, dude. I hate Gorst! All the corpse carts are 200 cheaper. Except for the base Necromancer. Those are 100 cheaper. Oh, okay. I think this is really good. The Master Necromancer, this alone is not going to make him playable. He still needs some substantial changes. But the base Necromancer, I think these are really, really nice for the corpse cart. I mean, the corpse cart's actually pretty good on the base Necromancer. Like, it's pretty strong. So, I totally think that's fine. Vlad von Karstein, big charge bonus increase. Has way more AP now, of course at the cost of base damage. Causes terror, base, and he's more expensive. I think that's great. I think that's an awesome change. Make Vlad a lot more elite of a character. Give him terror since he's not allowed to ride a monstrous mount, and he should be causing terror, but he becomes a little bit more expensive in exchange for being a more elite character. I think this is great. Awesome changes for Vlad. He's AP now, which is very solid. Devils of Schwarzhofen. And Vargeis. So Vargeis and the Devils of Schwarzhofen now are AP-centric, which is really, really strong. So, like, I think you'll actually see Vargeis being used now, since they deal mostly AP damage. They are a heavy AP unit. They're very, very strong now. Did they nerf Vlad's overall damage? Overall, yes, but because he deals more AP overall, it's still a better trade. Why didn't Vlad ride a mount in the lore? Because Games Workshop didn't like it. Oh, well, actually, if you want there actually is a real reason. The reason he does not ride a mount is not because lore never plays into it. It has to do with his design. The reason you could not take Vlad on a mount was because Vlad and Isabella were supposed to be in the same unit. Vlad and Isabella used to be a combined model, if you go back to 6th edition. Like, in 6th edition, you could not take them separately. Like, if you took Vlad, it was Vlad and Isabella von Karstein. Like, that was the model you were purchasing. So, like, they were a combined unit. Then in 7th edition, they split them up so that they're a lord and hero. That way, you could take one of them, but not the other one, and also made them cheaper. But the big thing with them is that you're supposed to take them together. And if you're going to take them together, they had to be on infantry to work hand in hand. So Games Workshop did not want to incentivize people to take Vlad on a mount, because they were instead trying to incentivize you to make Vlad and Isabella run together. But you didn't have to run them together, but they wanted you to. What happened to Isabella in the lore? She got possessed by a greater demon of Nurgle, and she killed a bunch of people and a bunch of vampires, and in the end, Vlad killed himself and her, but made sure she was wearing the von Karstein ring. So Isabella came back to life and was cured of the demon, but Vlad was dead. And Isabella, for whatever reason, when the demon was exorcised from her on her dying and being resurrected, she lost her memory. So she was just kind of like, had no idea who she was, and then the world blew up. I don't know why. The Red Duke can hit more people now when he's not on a dragon. Great. Warriors of Chaos, Forsaken, got a small damage buff. I don't know if that's going to be enough to really make up for the issues they have, but, you know, it's something. Aspiring Champions, more health, more damage, more AP, and they actually have a pretty significant knock-ignore chance. I think I really like that for their unit design, for how, like, they're, like, elite individuals. I think it's pretty cool. That makes sense. Lore-wise, Isabella was a bad character. I liked Isabella in the army books. I have not read the Vampire War Saga. I have it right there, but I haven't gotten around to reading it yet. So I'm not sure how they portray her in that story, but I really like the Isabella from the army books storylines. Why is there no Pike Infantry in Warhammer? There is Pike Infantry. They're part of the Southern, or Dogs of War / Southern Realms. Manticores, of course, got buffed. Archaon the Everchosen on Dorger. Ground statistic effect group changed from large beast to large. I don't know what that means, but okay. I need to make a video. Well, I need to make a video about a lot of stuff, but Dorger needs some love. Chosen. More damage. Great. I'm assuming this is for shield Chosen only, because they're definitely the worst of the three. Kolek Suneater. More melee attack, less melee defense. Same thing for the Shaggoth. Okay, that's totally fair. Prince Sigvald. 100 leadership. He can hit twice as many people, so he's no longer just a stupid duelist. He can actually hurt people. Perfect vigor. Ooh, baby. And he no longer has Foe Seeker and Deadly Onslaught. Instead, he has Slippery and Heroic Killing Blow. I like it. Sigvald, I've seen I kind of moused over the campaign changes, and I know Sigvald got huge buffs. Does anyone else feel like Games Workshop may have called up Creative Assembly and they're like, hey, we're re-releasing Sigvald, so if you could make him, like, not suck, that'd be great. He should actually be pretty decent now. Chaos Warriors with Halberds, more melee defense, neat. Chosen with Halberds got more melee defense. I feel that's... okay, that's fair. That's fair. Such a good unit. Chaos Marauders, great weapons, a little cheaper. Cool. Wood Elves. See if any of this is stuff that I've missed. The Elven Steed. Wow. The Elven Steed is much, much better in forests. Also, it has Vanguard deployment for Glade Lords on Steed. That's cool. Glade Lords on Eagles have 360 firing arc. That's a strong change. Same thing on the Forest Dragons. Also very, very strong. I don't think I've used a single Glade Lord since I started working on the DLC, just because I've been like looking at all the new stuff. So those are great changes. That actually makes the Glade Lords on the their mounts a lot more substantial. Spellsinger is... Oh, the Spellsinger's taller now. Good for her. The Unicorn also got substantial buffs to match with the Bretonian Unicorn. That's good. Yeah, the Unicorn should really be exceptionally different from horses. The horses and unicorns are just not even remotely the same. In Warhammer Fantasy, unicorns are just so much more dangerous. Orion got... Yeah, these changes I was all aware of. Orion got a physical resistance buff, which is awesome. But he lost missile resistance, but that's a trade up, not a trade down. He actually has a reload skill now. Oh, look at that! They made him faster like we asked by 0.1. Woo! Orion really does need to be a lot faster, but I understand it's an animation issue, not a balance issue. But he can fire while moving. That is pretty cool. I do like that he can throw stuff. Treekin! Less melee defense, but significantly more damage. Significantly more damage. Look at that. Plus 20 base damage and plus 8 AP damage, and they can hit an extra target in battle. Good for Treekin. Good for Bleed Rainbow's physical resistance applies to everything unless it's magic damage. Good for the Treekin. I'm glad Treekin got much better at fighting, because being garbage at everything but defense is just not good design for how slow they are. They needed to be good at hurting people to, like, force engagements. Of course, all tree spirits have Vanguard, which is cool. Dryads run a lot faster. Good for them. Weight Watchers are slightly less accurate and more expensive. I feel like that's a fair debuff. They're way too good compared to, like, everything else. Just changed a couple things. Wild Riders with shields have a longer weapon length. Cool. And Hawk Riders could fire 360 instead of 120. That's a great change. Abilities. Menace Below. Menace Below is the hottest garbage on the face of the earth. I hate it. If there's one thing I will never understand... Well, I understand it, but I think it was a dumb change. I recognize that it's a decision, but given that it's a stupid decision... I will always dislike that Creative Assembly made Skaven into a summoning faction. How desperately I wish that Skaven had just been the Game 2 faction that, like, spawns another horde, or can, like, have another horde through some mechanic, so they can just have a lot more troops. Menace Below is stupid. I hate it. It's so dumb. That being said, I'm glad that it got the shit nerfed out of it. I think it still needs to be way more heavily nerfed. Like, I think it should not have map-wide effect. It should probably be, like, limited to an area around the general, as opposed to being map-wide. Because it's so overpowered. It is so grossly overpowered. It's just super stupid. I also just don't like the summoning mechanics in general for the Skaven. Yeah, I understand the idea behind it, but to me, it doesn't make sense for the Skaven to be constantly summoning more troops onto the battlefield. It should be more about Skaven having just a massive army to begin with. Like, I would have just liked them to have more slots in an army. Realm of Souls for the Ushabti summon, also 5 seconds longer. That's fair. Axe of Dargo now recharges no matter what, but it takes a lot longer to recharge, but it lasts a lot longer. I think that's a good change. Same thing for Gitsnick, good change. Yeah, recharging in melee condition just doesn't work very well a lot of the time. I think it's better just to have, like, a standardized system. Pendant of Slaanesh. Wow, look at that. Pendant of Slaanesh, Dolores Blade, Hellfire Sword, and the Slayer of Kings all got rid of the melee condition, and they recharge faster. Damn. Oh, hey, Legend, what's up? Let's see. Witch Brew. Neat. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Whoa. Okay. So, it gives you 10% less base damage, but it gives you 50% extra AP damage? Okay. Okay. That's really nice. Holy shit, that makes Witch Brew, like, amazing on everything. Oh, right, you're right. Duration change, not cooldown. I'm an idiot. That's okay. I'm just dumb. But still, really like the Witch Brew change. I really like the Witch Brew change. Gaze of Cain. Gaze of Cain, that's Hellebron's buff, right? That's good. I'm glad that Witch Brew and Gaze of Cain is less about, like, purely buffing Witch Elves and sucking at everything else. And now it's like, oh, it buffs, like, everything the same. Like, you could throw it on an AP unit and it's just as good. So good. That's awesome. War Dancer dance abilities is a toggle stance. That's great. That's what it should have been in the first place. They just... You know what's funny about this? I can't credit my source because I don't remember who I was talking to about it. But if I recall correctly, this was the original idea with the War Dancers, is that it would be a toggled stance, just like it was in Tabletop. But they thought people would be, like, too stupid to use it. Like, they're like, people won't be smart enough to remember their stances, so we should make it an ability. And it's like, the people who are too stupid to remember if they're toggled it on or off are the same people who are too stupid to even remember they have an active in the first place. So just make it a toggle, because the crowd that's missing out on it is still gonna miss out on it. Like, you can't force people to be good at active abilities. I think most players, like, units that have active abilities, they just it goes over their heads. Like, they're just like, oh, I didn't know. Scourge. Ah, yes, the eternal quest to make Khazrak not suck. Khazrak, so it lasts not quite as long, no longer buffs your chance to hit, but gives you pretty huge bonus versus infantry, bonus damage, bonus AP, bonus splash attack. Neat. The Dark Mail now gives you a 20% ward save. I love that they gave up on trying to make it close to the Tabletop version, where they're like, oh, in Tabletop, it's all, they're like, just make it a ward save. Just make it a ward save. just make it easy. Just deal with it. That's a good change. I don't know if that's going to make Khazrak competitive. These are very strong buffs, but Khazrak just has a really hard time competing with Morgr and Malagor. Von Karstein Ring. Infinite uses. Only a 66% ward save instead of 90%, and it doesn't last as long. This is a great change. Man, Vlad is going to be pretty sick now. Vlad is going to be pretty sick now. Grombrindal has no fear. Now it has a 55-meter radius instead of map wide. Gives 24 additional melee defense. That's cool. Ah, yes, the runes. All of the runes have a casting range of... all the friendly runes. All the friendly runes now have a casting range of 200 meters. Woo! It's big. That's a big range. I still think it sucks because these runes are super boring. I really hope we'll get a rework on runes at some point. But, like, oh my lord, those runes cover a very big distance now. Restore takes longer, so it's a slower heal, but it still heals just as much, I guess. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess I would have said if it heals more, so I guess it just heals slower. Hold the line is more expensive. Runefang has a bigger area. All of the miscast items make you more likely to miscast, or less likely. That's good. I think if you're gonna have an ability that makes it likely, like, if you're like, oh, a big selling point of this item or ability is gonna be, like, the chance for your opponent to miscast, it should be a really high chance. Because that's the only way you're gonna get any value out of it, is by, like, really having an influence. So I'm glad that virtually all of these are making it so that, like, miscasting is much, much more likely or less likely if it's defensive. That's a good change. Destroyer for Malekith can now be reapplied on a unit 45 seconds after the previous one expired instead of just 90. Ugh. The Lucky Skull Helm. Whenever Tretch is losing in melee combat, the phase activates. Neat. Spells. Transformation Cadence is more expensive. Cool. I like that. Drown Dead is more expensive. Good. Pestilent Birth. Dumbest spell. The fact that we lost... what was the... I think the spell it replaced was... I think it was Plague Wind? But... I was really irritated when they replaced one of the Skaven spells with Pestilent Birth. Pestilent Birth can go die. It's a dumb spell. Vermintide being a summon spell is also really stupid. They should change it back to what it actually does. Burning Head deals a lot less damage. Pendulum also deals a lot less damage. And Sea Fang deals a lot less damage. I feel like... I hope these are as big of changes the way they feel... And instead of... Because, like, these are just kind of numbers. I'll have to mess around with them. But what does Vermintide actually do? So in Tabletop, Vermintide was like a... It was like a wind spell. Vermintide, when you activated Vermintide, it caused, like, a swarm of vermin. So, like a horde of rat swarms to basically flood over units and deal a bunch of damage to them. So it wasn't a summon. It was like you didn't summon a unit of clan rats. You caused like a big wave of rats to run people over. All the Skaven fans are going to cry without their summons. Well, then they should enjoy crying because they're not true. You can't. If the summoning is what you fell in love with the Skaven for, then you're not in love with playing Skaven. You're in love with playing furry undead. If the summons are what you think Skaven are all about and what they should be around, you are a undead furry. You are not Skaven. Skaven should not be about that summoning life. Alright, let's move on to campaign changes. Most of these I think I'm aware of, so we'll kind of speed through this one. Let's see. Or you fell in love with the Skaven. It's okay. You can like it if you... Like, just because I hate it doesn't mean you have to hate it. Or that it's, like, objectively bad. I just think it sucks. And I am more than comfortable actively hating systems that I think are dumb. But you do you. I'm still going to hate on it, but you do you. Alright. New Chaos Invasion. Stuff. Here we go. Okay, we know about all the Wood Elf change. I'm just looking for stuff that I haven't, like, talked about. Yeah, we know all this, we know all this, we know all this. Yep. 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 Wild Hunt. Let's see. Wood Elves and Dark Elves hate each other less. Could have fooled me. Oak of Ages is no longer required to unlock Confederation. Instead, it unlocks missions. That's really nice. No restrictions on trade. Oh, I guess they mean, like, you don't have to, like, go through hoops to activate it, so that's also nice. The original Defense of the Oak final battle has been rebalanced to be made more interesting and dangerous. It's still super easy. It's definitely harder than it was, but it's still pretty easy. Okay, we're going to very lightly skim the crash, or like the bug fixes. Like, I'm just going to look for the ones that are genuinely, I find kind of interesting. I think for the most part, well, I think all of these are just like little fixes that are not a huge deal. Oh, the Big Fort landmark at Black Crag lets you get Black Orc big bosses. Cool. That's really good for Grimgore. Tyrion's innate trait now grants upkeep reduction to rangers. Very nice. I really like this change. I really like this change. Mazda Mundi now counts as a second generation Slaawn. So Mazda Mundi gets all of the, like, big buffs or on his trait that all of the regular second edition Slaawn get. So now he's just better than them, as opposed to being, like, if anything, slightly worse. That's a really nice change. I'm glad they did that. Yada. Ambush battles in the Old World Mountains will no longer cause a Dark Elf themed map. Great! Now make it so that fighting in Norsca no longer gives Dark Elf maps, and I'll be happy. Because right now you can absolutely get Dark Elf maps in Norsca. They fixed Mazda Mundi's Ruination of Cities. That's good. Literally unplayable. Cool. All good fixes. Lord Croc needs to have a first... Dude, Lord Croc is fine. Like, Lord Croc is totally fine. He does not need more. He's great. Fixed an issue with kill counter would not... Okay, that's neat. Ancient Salamander moved to missile monsters from monsters. That's cool. Fix some stupid crap there. Fix some stupid crap there. Fix some... I like that he's officially called DJ Kotep. DJ Kotep. Okay, so it looks like they fixed a lot of the quick battle stuff. Like, what counts as what. Miscellaneous, reordered races alphabetically. Cool. Oak of Ages, Roots, Manuvad? Nani? I don't know what that means. Lord Croc wasn't very good in multiplayer anymore. Well, giving him a trait wouldn't fix that, now would it? Thomas Eck, have a good night, my dude. Thanks so much for being here. General changes. Clan Rictus starts in the Undercity, beneath Crookback Mountain. This is great. It's kind of a band-aid solution, but it works, and I'm happy with it. And it also kind of gives Tretch like a feeling of being a sneaky asshole, so I'm totally cool with that. Clan Molder now gets Chieftain heroes right at the start. Great. When starting campaign as Malagor, Marshes of Madness starts in Top Knot, so he doesn't take attrition on the first turn. Great. High Elf Hunters building has been merged, so they have less building overlap. Great. Public Order now actually is interesting. Great. Growth, the amount of growth you need is higher. Great. So you're actually rewarded if you have growth-centered play like I am. Or I have. Malice Sanity Effect tweets. I need to mess around with that. New buffs for Helm and Gorst. Oh, thanks. Whatever would we have done without that? Auto-resolver. Artillery does not suffer from echo fire? Oh, okay. So artillery is less likely to suicide. AI less likely to overreact to public order issues, so maybe you can actually interact with that system. That would be kind of nice. AI lords give bonus experience, so I guess they level faster. Diplomatic events now have a bigger effect, depending on if they like or dislike your race. Oh, that's kind of interesting. No planned recolonization of... Oh, okay, interesting. So, I'm guessing this is saying that the AI will not be quite as, like, super anal about reconquering after you raise something, like, immediately. Made the AI less likely to claim territory in a bad climate for them. That's good. Settlement Abandonment. Settlement Abandonment is awesome. I'm really glad that's in the game. I'm hoping Settlement Abandonment is like a baby step towards region trading, but it's a good first step. Faction and Lord effects. Helm and Gorst no longer gets charge bonus on corpse cards. Added bound spell. Lesser Raise Dead for corpse card and Mortis engines? That sounds pretty powerful, actually. lesser raised deads. Does that mean it's just zombies or like a smaller unit of zombies? I'll have to mess around with that. I'm curious what that means. Plus 15 armor for zombie units in his army. Oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. That's some good changes to help him feel a little different. I will say, I do wish they made Kemmler more about Whites and Graveguard, like White Kings and Graveguard, and made Gorst more about zombies, which is kind of what they seem to be doing. I don't think Kemmler got any changes, but I would really like... I'll have to double check exactly what he has, but I would really like for Kemmler to get like a bonus to some... or like bonus recruitment or something for White Kings, and maybe some further bonuses to Graveguard. Am I the only one who always thinks that it's really weird that Kemmler is the one with the regular raised dead, while Gorst is the one with, like, the Whites raised dead? Like, on one hand, I feel like the cheaper raised dead is just objectively better. But I feel like thematically it makes more sense for Kemmler to be resurrecting, like, Whites or Graveguard than it does for... I feel like they should switch those two, but that might be something to think about. Like, really feels like that should be Kemmler's gimmick spell, but then maybe Kemmler should have, like, a bound version of the regular raised dead? We'll have to see. Lord Master of Sotek, are there any features from previous Total War games I want added to this game? I would like... Yes. Bretonnian archers need the ability to put out, like, little picket fence things. Whatever you call them. I'm blanking on the word. Because they were able to do that in tabletop. Like, they had the ability to put down stakes in front of them, so, like, charging them could cause damage. And I know you could do that in prior Total War games. They need to add that for Bretonnian archers. That would be so awesome. And then, I'd also like to see diplomacy be more nuanced. I would like to see... if they're gonna not allow us to move our capitals, they need to at least allow us to draw trade routes. Because I hate how annoying the trade system can be right now. Because getting trade can be a bitch if you're in a weird place. Since CA said they don't have time or budget to update 2 or world factions at a time, does that mean we want it? Learning Lion, I do not think you're going to see Dwarves and Vampire counts getting anything else for Game 2. I think Dwarves and Vampire counts have already gotten their updates. Unfortunately, their updates really sucked, but it's just the way it is. Hopefully, they'll get another pass at some point. Archaon no longer gives leadership to Chaos Warriors because 3% bonus damage for each veterancy rank. Holy shit. That is so strong. That's, what, 27% extra damage on rank 9 units? And that's for all units? That's very nice. That is an excellent trade for leadership on just Chaos Warriors. That's awesome. Wait, it's for Archaon's rank? Like Archaon's Lord rank? I thought that was for the unit veterancy rank. Because wouldn't it say character level if it was talking about Archaon? It's based on his rank, not chevrons? That's even more... Really? And that's faction-wide? Holy shit, that's terrifying. Wait, so he could seriously get... He could seriously get 120% bonus damage? Oh, it's 1% per rank. That's still really strong. Like, that would have been strong if it capped out at 27%, but if that caps out at 40%, that's a lot. Oh, we're doing this now. Sure, why not? Alright, I guess we're doing this now. Sigvald the Magnificent no longer gives armor to embedded characters, but instead gives rage to all Marauder units, and then gives them Berserk when they're rank 7. That's amazing. Dude, Sigvald can get better Norskins than the Norskins. Like, oh my good god, that is so funny. And Strider for all units in his army, awesome. I love that Sigvald can have better Sigvald's basic Norskins are now the best Norskins in the game once they get up to rank 7. That being said, you still can't, Marauder champions are exclusive to the Norsca faction, so they still got that going at least. Ungrim Iron Fist only gives +5 melee attack instead of 10, and Journey's End now disables at 75% hit points instead of 50%. So Ungrim got debuffed as a Lord effect. So Ungrim himself is stronger, but his ability as a general was reduced a little bit. That's fair. Ungrim's kind of a nightmare to deal with if you're fighting against him. Tretch Craventail, we already went over this on my video, but I'm really glad that Tretch actually has mechanics now. Tretch, funny enough, I was actually looking at this in the build before the current one, so the last build. Tretch Craventail did not actually have any faction effects. Like literally, Tretch Craventail's only faction effects were he gets a public order bonus when he betrays somebody, and he can take ice terrain as like friendly. That was it. That was all he had. Like, oh my gosh, it's so like Tretch actually does stuff now, so good for him. Good for him. I like Tretch. Now that Throt is in the game, I like Tretch. Mazda Mundi. Yeah, we already went over that. Okay, so fun fact. Are y'all ready for this? I did this. I want to make this perfectly clear. This right here. Oh, where's my camera? That way. This up here. The whole Krokar's spear now gives discourage. That was me. I did that. There was a conversation that happened about this one. Did I have to grovel? I groveled so hard. They were like, I was like, come on, just like, that's literally what he does at tabletop. Like, his rule literally says for every wound he does counts double for combat resolution. So just do it in game. Like discourage is literally the exact same thing. So just do that. And they were like, I shit you not. They were like, okay, tell you what, we could do it in campaign, but we're not doing it in multiplayer. And I was like, fine, like, great, that's awesome. Don't care, that's fine. So yeah, you're welcome. I did this. This is mine. Hey, Heretical Heretic, what's up? Dude, Tretch is great. Tretch is not the same thing as Gorst. Do not put Gorst in the same room with anybody, okay? That is absolute horseshit. Don't do that. Like, that is the most cockwobbly statement I've ever heard in my life. Do not put Gorst in the same room with any other character in this game. Gorst is a abomination, a failure of decision making on levels the likes of which will never be compared. So don't even at me. And Laura, no, Gorst in game is fine. He should have been a different character. Like, we should have gotten Dieter Hellschnitt instead. Gorst in game is actually like a pretty decent character. Like, he's pretty good in campaign. But from a lore standpoint, and for the fact they picked him over the huge amount of other vampire characters, absolute fucking horse garbage. Anyway, moving on. Vampire counts. Dark Pact now only gives 5 leadership. That's fine, whatever. Slayer King only gets... Wow, they really hit Ungrim's campaign with the Nerf Hammer. Lizardmen. You can now get the Sacred Spawning of Chodol in campaign. It's no longer a pure... This was another one I did. I had some conversations about Krokgar. This is another one that I talked about that I always found really funny. Is that Krokgar had a unique ability in custom battles, which was so weird. It was so weird. Like, they gave him a buff. It's not super overpowered. It's just kind of a cool buff. But it was only in multiplayer. It was like, why though? Like, can we have it in single player? I agree, but as the chief necromancer for Manfred, he makes sense. Why does Manfred need a chief necromancer? Why? Like, he's Manfred von Karstein. He has tons of pets and underlings. Gorst, you didn't need Gorst. Like, every legendary lord should be a character that can stand alone as ruling their own faction. Get off this. Stop. I don't. If you're a Gorst simp, get the fuck out of my chat. Just get out. I don't respect you. You have trash taste. You should be ashamed of yourself, and you should stand for something better. Anyway. What elves? Neat. Sigvald the Magnificent skill unworthy now grants fear instead of just terror. That's actually really funny. Gorst is my favorite vampire. See, I can... You're trying too hard, Legend. I like, you can't... It can't set me off if it's... It has to be a little more subtle. Are we still doing Vermintide tomorrow? Sigvald... Oh, Sigvald gets charmed attacks? Ooh, that's really cool. That's a really cool buff for Marked by Slanesh. I like that. Now Sigvald makes you fall in love with him as he stabs you. Technologies, expert charge defense for halberdiers. Great. I still feel like they need to add like one more little area of tech for the Empire Tech Tree. The Empire Tech Tree looks weird. Like, it looks like it's explicitly missing an area. Have I actually played Gorst? Jesus, I have played every single character. Multiple times. Like, yes, I have played Gorst. Okay, I'm not going to worry about any of this garbage. The TLDR is that firing out of forest is more interesting now. Hiding in forest is more consistent. They did make it where everything could shoot out of forest easier, but now they were like, oh hey, just kidding, like, artillery can't really as much. Damage tracking's a thing now, and it's really, really solid. Entity collisions have been reworked. You can read all the specifics yourself. I'm not going to get super into it. What else? Orion actually, like, does stuff, even though he's still kind of garbage. Spells and abilities. Oh, yeah, I really like this. The minimum cast range on everything, except for magic missiles, has been reduced. Awesome. Awesome changes. Oh, Vermintide immediately afterwards? Yeah, I was going to do some Vermintide tonight anyway, so that works. And then modding, they thank the modders. This is great. That's definitely something that I really appreciate them doing, and I hope they stay in practice of, is making sure to thank modders who have been doing something that then, you know, they essentially end up doing themselves. And then the rest of this is just Chinese. Alright. So cool. Overall, I would definitely say that the, there we go. I would definitely say that the patch notes are really solid. I didn't see anything that I considered negative. Everything seemed everything seemed to be like a great step in the right direction or an appropriate decision based on particular little issues. Go over in Chinese. How about you? No. I like for a second I was like, oh yeah, I could pretend. It's like, no, I'm not even gonna put myself in that position. There's a lot of hints towards Slaanesh as a pre-order DLC. G3032. What? Give me a source. Give me an example. Luring Lion. Yes, I saw this faction wide. It's very strong. Curse of Years is just marriage. Wow, that is such a boomer joke. Damn, dude. Just ripped that straight out of like a 1990s newspaper, didn't you? Have I heard of the Cetra bug? No, what is the Cetra bug? Play Gorst instead. Sotek with Legend? No, I value my time. Listen, I have a limited amount of time on this earth. I'm not going to spend it with fucking Gorst. Cetra loses undead on his chariot? What? That's a really funny buff. Or that's a really funny bug. Man, wow, that's really funny. They'll definitely have to fix that. That's goofy. There's a new event that mentions Kislev Bear Calf. That's cool. I heard that rework Sisters Blacksmith? Jaka Wondersmock? I have no idea what that means. If I could, which Warhammer female would I go on a date with? Nyastra, hands down. I am all in on Nyastra Simp. All in. Like all the chips are down, no questions and regret. Like no regrets. I'm good. Oh yeah. I saw they're fixing the Forge of Daith, or they're reworking it. I'm really happy. I'm really happy and relieved that they're going to be taking a look at the Forge of Daith and the artwork. You're an Ara. You're Legend would be. I feel like Australians going for Arahan just kind of makes sense. Alright, so, here's what we're going to do. Well, Undertaker, they put out a post on Twitter, like, saying what all they're going to do, and I felt really good about it. You're a brunette man? Arahan has white hair. Nyastra's the brunette. Arahan's the white-haired one, you goof. I got those two mixed up so many fucking times. Yeah. Nyastra is nice and has dark hair. Arahan is angry and has white hair. Dude, the first day we were talking about on stream, I got them backwards like 1,000 times. Do I collect many of the AOS limited edition battle tomes? Wiggle Wiggles bottom? I didn't, but I've started to. That being said, they're expensive enough. I don't like sweat about it. The only times I'm like, oh, I really want to get a limited edition is if a book it's something I play. So like I have the limited edition Seraphon book, and like when they release the new edition for Night Haunts 3rd edition, I will definitely pick up theirs as well. But I'm not looking to have a pure limited edition collection because that's probably an unhealthy habit. Anyway, okay, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream, and I'm going to eat a little bit more. I'm probably going to be back on in about 15 to 20 minutes. where we will play some Vermintide. So I will be back with Vermintide in just a little while. Hopefully I'll see you guys then. Should be fun. It sounds like we're going to be playing with Legend. So hopefully we don't completely crash and burn. And should be a good time. Till then, I'll see you guys. If you're not going to be joining us, I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, morning, whatever it is where you're at. And we'll see you again soon. If you will be joining us, I'll see you guys in about 15 to 20 minutes. Stay safe out there. There's a lot of crazy shit going on, especially if you're in the States. You know, be safe, wear a mask. I don't want to hear about anybody getting sick if they can avoid it at any cost. You know, be careful out there, guys. I want y'all to be safe. So, see y'all for some Vermintide just a little bit. Bye, guys.